Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Governor Andy Beshear announces some good news involving the Commonwealth's unemployment rate. And we see a bit of increase in COVID-19 cases here in Kentucky, causing some concern among health officials.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Hey, good Friday. Yes, it is Friday. We have landed. It's May the 20th. Jim Freeman in, and we're glad you're along this morning as we hit 5 o'clock. Cameron Aaron is here this morning. Cameron, we know we have a waning moon. How about the fog situation out there?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are waking up to some fog across the mountains this morning. I know on my commute to work this morning, I ran into some of that fog as well. All of our maps were looking at 0 or 10 miles visibility, but I do think that some people will run into that fog this morning. Here is a live look over in Whitesburg. Current temperature is mild as you walk out the door. 72, that dew point of 65, so it's also pretty muggy as you step outside this morning. 70 in Pikeville and Prestonsburg, 71 in Jackson, 72 for Hazard and London, and 75 over in Somerset up on satellite and radar. We do have a few of those showers this morning, mainly north of the Mountain Parkway. However, the strongest storms on the board right now are well off to our north near the Ohio River over portions of southern Ohio, and those will stay to our north and we start to dry out and clear out as we go through the rest of today. Now for your Friday, the weather is not looking too bad. We stay dry and sunny, but it will be hot. Highs today topping out in the upper 80s and lower 90s, and we could set a few record highs today as well. I got the full forecast coming up in just a little bit. Jim.
Thanks, Cameron. That's toasty for the mountains. Kentucky unemployment rates have hit a record low. Yesterday, Governor Andy Beshear announced Kentucky's unemployment rate has dropped to 3.9%, the lowest ever recorded since the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics began reporting state rates in 1976. Beshear credits investment into Kentucky as a reason for success.
We have more investments going forward when you look at Kentucky than we did at this time pre-pandemic. We have more interest in Kentucky. We have more companies locating here, so it's a blessing.
The Republican Party of Kentucky disputed the governor's assessment, saying 20,000 people have left the labor force since he was elected. COVID cases are increasing once again in Kentucky. Governor Andy Beshear also held his weekly Team Kentucky update yesterday. He announced that the COVID positivity rate is now a little more than 9%. Kentucky Commissioner for Public Health, Dr. Stephen Stack, says while the numbers are something to be aware of, they should not discourage us in our fight against COVID-19.
And again, I just want you to hear it. That's okay. We are at a stage where people need to use information and use tools to be responsible for themselves and for their communities, and to take steps to keep themselves and their loved ones safe.
He's hoping a vaccine will be available for children under 5 years old this summer. The project to widen the Mountain Parkway in Wolfe County is awarded to construction 6 months ahead of schedule. Kentucky Secretary of Transportation Jim Gray says the goal is to have the entire expansion project done in 5 years, but he's optimistic it will be completed sooner. Gray adds that the project came in just under the state's budget.
That's a very big deal in terms of the progress on this project. And we've had some really remarkable progress, I should say, on the project so far.
Governor Beshear says this project is a high priority for him and wants it completed as soon as possible, with quality and safety, of course, in mind. Beginning today, an asphalt resurfacing and milling project is expected to slow traffic starting at Manning Drive along US 119 in Letcher County. The work will extend to US 23 and include all ramps onto US 23 to and from Virginia and Kentucky. The ramps are one lane, so long delays are expected. Construction is scheduled from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. It will take about 2 weeks to complete. Following Tuesday's primary election, a new Pulaski County Judge Executive will be sworn in next year. Marshall Todd is the Pulaski County Judge Executive-elect, beating incumbent Steve Kelly by more than 4,000 votes. Todd says he was thrilled and surprised by the voter turnout for him.
The margin of victory was very unanticipated. We didn't think it would be nothing like that. We expected a close race, but it turned out great, 4,500 vote margin, and we just never anticipated that.
Todd says when he takes office in January, he hopes he can provide open and honest government for the people of Pulaski County. Several leaders in rural journalism met to discuss issues in areas like Appalachia. They met at Hazard Community and Technical College Thursday evening. Al Cross, director of the University of Kentucky Institute for Rural Journalism and Community Issues, moderated the panel. The discussion centered on how to continually serve rural communities and challenges local newspapers and TV stations are dealing with.
Every locality, every place that elects local officials, as Kentuckians did this week, needs a reliable local news outlet to report on those officials, to hold them accountable, and to inform citizens about the candidates in the next election.
Thursday's panel was the final in the Kentucky Humanities Council's Democracy and the Informed Citizen series. WYMT's General Manager Neil Middleton joined regional editor for Appalachian newspaper Russ Cassidy and Jay Nolan, CEO of the Nolan Group, which publishes newspapers in several smaller communities. And thanks for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News this morning. Coming up, U.S. power officials warn about some potential power outages this summer as we begin to see some hotter temperatures.
And speaking of those hotter temperatures, the warmest day so far this year is likely on Friday. Highs near 90. Got that full forecast coming up.